Other interesting political news, you have Vivek on Republican strategy for college campuses. Now, this comes to us thanks to his ex-Twitter profile, in which, before the little minute video, Vivek says, quote, here's an opportunity Republicans shouldn't miss. Show up on college campuses in swing states ahead of November. Most college students are pissed off that their semesters are being derailed and commencements are canceled. Many who don't think of themselves as patriotic, pro-American conservatives are ready to join us. All we need is courage and show up and bring them along. This is a clip from Fox News, which is somehow still in business. And without too much further ado, his voice is infinitely better than mine. So go ahead, I'll bring that up here.
There's two standards of justice in this country.
Okay.
There's two standards of justice in this country, no doubt about it, Sean. But especially as it relates to these campus protests, there's a really important point to understand. This is not a tyranny of the majority, even among students. This is a tyranny of the fringe minority. And once we see that, we see an opportunity, actually, Sean. Most students do not agree with these protests. Look at many of these commencements where those protesters have been forcibly removed. You hear audiences erupting in cheering for the removal of those protesters. So I think this is actually an opportunity for Republicans this year. What we see is many young people who did not think of themselves necessarily as conservatives are now being converted into being patriotic, pro-American conservatives. So I actually think this is our opportunity if we as Republicans have the courage
let me ask
to
you
actually
this.
show up where a lot of these young people are. There's two standards of justice in this country, no doubt.
I don't know why Twitter has that bug, or in IT they'll joke it's a feature, but the video just automatically repeats when it's done. Went pretty well. I got 500,000 views and 14,000 likes on Vivek's ex-Twitter profile. And yeah, Republicans, they are so bad at marketing. I don't even know if they know what a college campus is. When I was in college, there was a Republican club, but it was anemic to say the least. There was a couple of people who'd show up. The organization was piss poor. There really wasn't much resource allocation. I didn't see a lot of people, helping fund it. People really putting big events together. I mean, you look at the other side, they had infinitely more resource allocation. They were better at marketing. The events were clear. They were advertised everywhere. And Republicans gave up on college campuses decades ago. I mean, that's one of the reasons why colleges are filled with such Marxist ideologies. It's also an issue with the colleges only hiring extreme leftist teachers in many cases. There's not a lot of political diversity there, which, again, is terrible. If you want to have, colleges, ironically, are supposed to be a place where you go to debate ideals and come up with new ideas. And in that case, you want a lot of diversity of thought. And yet college campuses, when it comes to the teachers, overwhelmingly leftist. I remember one of Ben Shapiro's books called Brainwash goes over the entire analysis of college campuses and their lack of diversity and how they're basically just incubation chambers for terrible Marxist ideas. Now, going down the comments, we actually have our favorite leftist being one of the first ones. Now, granted, I don't like him, but do appreciate different perspectives because it makes life a little bit more interesting and likely can get a little bit boring if you're in an echo chamber. Now, a little bit of background on Luke Zaleski. His profile picture, he's wearing a V-neck, which I don't say it's F- for marketing. I feel like a V-neck as a man is only appropriate maybe on your 13th date after you're married with a woman, and it's an at-home date. You're not actually going out in public. As you know, men should always suit up and look the best. And that's the only conceivable area I can think of where it would be appropriate to wear a V-neck. That's his profile picture. Also, the thing that he pins to his profile he's most proud of is talking about, he wrote an article for GQ, which again has become a cesspool, about how boys should not be able to play football. That's the kind of person Luke Zaleski is. Now, without further ado, Luke does say, Vivek is actively trying to disband and defund and dismantle the Department of Education and the entire federal government for that matter. He pretended to run for president so he could become Trump's lackey and do so. Stay in school, kids. Vivek has no actual ideas or solutions. Unquote. Getting 6 likes, though being mostly mentally vacuous. I wonder if he was ratioed. If you click to look at the responses, see here. He was not ratioed. There were responses, but they didn't get more likes than Luke did. So he wasn't completely roasted on social media. I mean, that being said, Vivek is a multimillionaire because he successfully built multiple businesses. And he's a successful entrepreneur. I'd say he's probably infinitely more successful on paper and in reality and morally than Luke Zaleski. In terms of getting rid of the federal education, every year, student test scores go down. There's a 32-year low for ACT scores. Most kids can't even balance a checkbook or don't even know that the importance of paying off your credit card every month, because if you pay the minimum, you'll never actually pay it off. You also don't know how to calculate things like an ROI, return on investment, for a college degree, which is mostly, in many cases, garbage. It shackles you with debt for 20, 30 years. So I don't have much faith in Department of Education personally, and I don't see what good they're doing if every year kids get more and more, they become less and less intelligent. yeah, in terms of having ideas, Vivek not only has ideas, but he articulates how to get the ideas done. That's to me, that's what attracted me to think he'd be a good prospective candidate. And I mean, I think a lot of his ideals are more of a constitutionalist. He reads a lot of the federal documents, and he says exactly how it's going to get solve problems. So he actually gives you a step by step and backs it up, which politics is really rare. Republicans and Democrats are so cliche with their talking points for when they're running. The biggest cliche is we're going to get Americans back to work, and they don't articulate not even one or two bullet points or steps on how to actually get those things done, and just for sound bites. But I partially digress. Other of the top comments, the persistence says what, or quote, Vivek, we also have veterans that are amputees who have offered to go to college campuses to show kids the real impact of war. Young people need to know a vote for Biden is a vote for war. That got 3.9 thousand likes, quite a few to say the least. And you have Sir Majesty saying, quote, this is what patriots need to be doing in the U.S. As protesters in Dublin, looks like they're peacefully protesting against mass immigration, and they're all waving Dublin's flags, or Ireland's flags, getting 679 likes. Is that the same poster? Person's busy. Sir Majesty says, did you see this footage, Vivek? They're vandalizing an army memorial. It was a World War I memorial that the Palestinian or Port Palestine protesters turned rioters. They spray painted a World War I memorial, burned an American flag. And of course, politicians on the left don't care at all. If anything, they praise it. I got 128 likes rather. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. Doppelganger saying the government doesn't care about Americans at all. They want Americans to fall. You all see it now, getting 80 likes, which, if you look at the resource allocation, how much, I'd be fascinated here, let me know in the comments, when you're paying your taxes, how much of that really helps you in your local community versus helping other communities in other countries? It'd be really great if we got a nice spreadsheet, or every penny that the government spends, we should be able to see. It'd be fascinating to see the resource allocation of how much they spend overseas, how much they spend in cities like San Francisco and Detroit. That'd be a fascinating breakdown I wish we could see. You also have Not Jim saying, quote, perhaps have the GOP fund some graduation ceremonies for those students whose ceremonies got canceled. Unquote, getting 42 likes, which, yeah, that would be a brilliant idea. Those kids remember that for, a lifetime. See here. We have Mike Sharp, the cartoonist, saying, oh, come on. His name is the cartoonist, but he responded in text only. Nevertheless, Mike Sharp, the alleged cartoonist, says Vivek is the only one with the plan, getting 68 likes. See here. AG says, and shut down the protesters' loan department funding. I'm guessing Brandon for giving loans kind of made them lazy, getting 42 likes. Oh yeah, but $6.1 billion of student loans and art degrees were canceled, quote unquote canceled or forgiven last month. No such thing. It was just paid off by people like you and I and loans from the Chinese government. Going down more and more. Let's see here. The conservative alternative says, quote, the society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting by fools. And apparently that's a quote by Thucydides, Thucydides, Thucydides. As we know, I can't pronounce the best, but the attempt was made. They got 109 likes. So mostly overwhelming. Again, we did have a couple of contrarian statements, but it looks like overwhelming support. Yeah, in terms of marketing, again, I'm not sure who's in charge of marketing at the Republican Party. Lord knows they're not doing a good job. It's probably on par with Alyssa Heiderchild from, the Bud Light Business Blender of the Year, where she paid Dylan Mulvaney $185,000 in order to lose $1.4 billion in sales. I mean, they did finally get rid of Ron McDaniel, which, again, that was a good move by the Republican Party, because everyone had a disdain for her ineptitudes of Republicans. Again, losing again and again and again in elections, trying the same old cliche tactics and getting basically nowhere. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, they need someone who do their marketing, just revamp everything. Because again, at college campuses, they gave up decades ago. They need to drastically ramp up those presence and think about the long term instead of just thinking about the short term and getting more rhinos in the office. But let me know, did you see any presence of Republican Party when you were in college, or did you have any friends, or they go to college, they were enamored by the presence? You can't help but think probably not. But as always, let me know in the comments. I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave us a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone Just stay safe, fight the good fight.